Good evening, my educator family, and let me welcome you to Analysis Thursday. Yes, right, with Strategic Educational Consultancy Services, where the educators with me to do this analysis is Mrs. Yolann Fyffe-Fagan. We call her YF square. Yes, she is an English language teacher at the Roger Clark High School. She has a bachelor's in English literacy, and I must say that she's an excellent, yes, excellent English language teacher with specific emphasis on reading in the content area and also helping the students to read and grasp, because we don't always get them at the correct grade level. And if you want to get them to the correct grade level, then Mrs. Fyffe-Fagan is the person that you send them to help them to get to that. Welcome, Mrs. Fyffe-Fagan, to Strategic and Educational Consultancy Services, where we're doing our Analysis Thursday. June is the joyful jolly month, and so we're focusing on special needs students in the Jamaican context. And as you would have been watching, as you always do, a very great supporter, you would have seen on this Rochelle Harris looked at strategies that can be utilized with specific learning disabilities. And I know that you have some background knowledge as well on students with learning disabilities. So take it away. Let's hear your analysis points and let's get into that discussion now.
Hi, good evening, Edu family. Mrs. Boswell-Lewis, I thank you for that hearty welcome. I must say that I'm extremely happy right now because I'm glad to be awarded this opportunity to present on such a platform where I can interact with the Edu family and share my views and opinions. So thank you for having me today, and viewers. I hope that my presentation today will be insightful and that you would have learned a lot from it. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Miss Rochelle Harris' presentation, I must say it was one that was well done. I learned a lot. Oftentimes as educators, we believe that because we're in the field, we have the pedagogical knowledge, we have the skill set, and we have been in the classroom doing our thing for so long. But it was really fresh and insightful for her to, just share some things that I found useful. So as Ms. Boswell-Lewis said, I'm a trained literacy specialist, and I assess students' needs, their literary needs, and try to bring them where they ought to be in the learning environment. Now, one of the high points of Ms. Harris's presentation that I did find useful, and I can say I have used it in the classroom, was when she mentioned that, for students, the dyslexic students, the dyscalculia students, we should use a lot of manipulatives. Now, yeah. I have taught at the early childhood level. My mother and I own an institution, so I actually have my own early childhood institution. I've taught at the primary level, and I'm currently teaching at the high school level. So I would say that, I've used manipulative across all these learning levels to get students actively engaged. Now, manipulatives are useful because not only do they assist the learner in learning information, it also tends to build on all their other skill sets. Like you have the kinesthetic learner. I'm a bit nervous, so just bear with me. You have the kinesthetic learner, you have the visual learner, the audio learner, and all of these. So when they interact with manipulatives, they build on the tactile skills. It also brings a level of critical thinking to them, because sensory, touch, smell, taste, sight, it's very important for them to grasp information. And as educators, we always know we're grounded in it. This is one of our core goals. You use the knowledge that students have, their prior knowledge, to take them from where they are to where they should be, and then to transcend them to where they ought to be or where you want them to go, right? So I can relate with her with the manipulatives. And you also know, Mrs. Boswell-Lewis, my little project with my 7 UX students, I have a lot of those little games for them. I make draft, is it draft? I make draft games for them, snake and other puzzles, pop-ups, pictures, little things like these, because you not only want them to learn inside class time, you want them to learn outside of their learning hours. So I, as the literacy specialist, I tend to do a lot of creative work that have them reading, whether it is their lunchtime, whether it is, say, a little 5 minutes in class, if they come early before school or after school. You want to ensure that you put information out there for them. And it is important also, I'm just going to add to the manipulatives, it is also important that you give students a choice. And a lot of educators will agree with me, because when we think about the curriculum that we want the students to learn, some educators were steadfast, this is what they're supposed to do, this is what I'm going to teach them, and this is how it ought to be. Remember, EduFamily, that our learners, they themselves know their capabilities, they know what they want to achieve. So by giving them a choice in reading material, by giving them a choice in manipulatives, giving them a choice in the math they want to learn, giving them a choice even in history, it will indeed pique their interest. And that is why when I tend to do reading areas, we have books from all different genres. And I'm not talking books that, you know, you cater to the boys, which would be comics and science fiction, or the girls, which would be Nancy Drew. You give them information that they choose the knowledge that they want to learn. So you have your little history books, you have your little history books, your science books, your picture books. You can introduce games as well for them to, you know, just build on their knowledge. So that was one of the high points for me.
All right. So with the use of manipulatives, you know, I teach food, nutrition, and health.
Yes.
And you have the math teacher, you have the science teacher. This that is spread across the board, that yes, if you are dealing with the students, no matter the subject, then there are manipulatives that can be utilized to help them to grasp the concept. That's what you're saying.
Yes, and also when we think of manipulatives, you know, we don't have to isolate a subject area. You have different manipulatives, that you can use to teach an integrated lesson. Because, for example, you just mentioned integrated science. So I'm thinking rocks. Rocks is such a unique topic. However, when you're teaching rocks, igneous, metamorphic, sedimentary, you can expand, whether it be clay rock, clay, you know, form Play-Doh, or whether it is papier mâché, you know, when you do the wet glue and form it, whether it is papier mâché, then yes, you can transcend the student learning with that same manipulative. By teaching science, you teach mass, you teach density, you can go further to teach history. You're going to teach faulting and, well, maybe not that advanced, but then you can teach rock formation, you can teach continental drift. You're going to say why this rock was found here, why this rock was formed there, volcano. So you have manipulatives that you can integrate in every subject area. And you know, that is indeed important, because learners should never learn in isolation. They should take the knowledge that they learned from Mrs. Fyffe-Fagan's English class, to Mrs. Boswell's food class, to Mr. Tom's mathematics class, and to Mr. Johnson's social studies class. And when we reinforce, yes, as Ms. Harris rightfully stated, students need constant supervision. And when we reinforce their learning by linking prior knowledge, linking other subject areas, we will see that students achieve their maximum potential.
Awesome. Okay. So what was your next? So you delved quite a lot into the manipulatives, and you shared with us your experience. What was were there any other high points that came across? How do you see this connecting with what you do in your classroom?
All right. She also mentioned independent learning. So independent learning would have also been mentioned a while ago when I said, you know, you allow students the freedom of choice. Now, Ms. Harris'
Right.
presentation, I said, was really good because yes, it is indeed adaptable for 21st century learners. So online learning, and then as we revert back to the physical space, we can indeed incorporate these into our lessons to make them more practical, to make them more meaningful for the learner.
Oh, yes, that's great. So, you have some information as it relates, or you have knowledge of how to deal with students that we deem to be special needs, though we cannot diagnose them.
Yes.
We are aware of the basics of these students. How is it like with lesson planning? She mentioned the 5 E's. How is it like where lesson planning is concerned? What was your, how do you feel about what she mentioned as it relates to lesson planning for these students?
Her lesson planning technique was quite good. The fact that she used an integrated approach to reach the students.
Right.
As you rightfully said, we're not trained in diagnosing students, whether they have ADHD, they have dyslexia, and things like that. However, and my edu family can agree with me, when you have been an educator for an X amount of years, I've been in the classroom for approximately 13 going on 14 years, you are able to, based on written knowledge and experience, you are able to just have a mental diagnosis of the learners that are in your class. No, edu family, what do you do when you realize the differentiated learners that you have? When we speak about differentiation in learning, persons tend to often think that, you know, it's differentiation because he grasps the information quicker, she is a more fluent speaker, she can express herself, or John, he writes eloquently. Differentiation in learners is, we tend to speak to their different skills and abilities, right? This takes us back to the type of spatial learner, visual learner, audio learners in our class. When we have identified the different learners, it is important, edu family, that we take the time out to think about how do we cater to the holistic development of these students. We know that we have to tweak the lesson plans. We know that we have to give them activities that cater to their specific learning needs. However, by giving them specific activities, we should never limit them. And Mrs. Boswell-Lewis, oftentimes as teachers, and I must say, sometimes I fall prey to this as well. Sometimes sometimes I under challenge a student because I think that he or she is not able to complete this particular task a particular way. You understand what I'm saying? Hello? Did my internet go down? So they're not able to complete that activity the way in which we want them to complete it. Mrs. Boswell-Lewis, are you there?
Yes, so you mentioned about the fact that as teachers, what happened when we are in the classroom?
Yes, I think the internet went down. I was saying to you that when we are in the classroom, we should always challenge the learners. And I was saying to you that I must say sometimes I'm a bit guilty of that by not challenging the students to their optimum, level, because I'm thinking that, oh, you know what, he doesn't read so well, or his letter formation is not so good, so I won't give him a sentence to write like I would the other students. Well, really and truly, the child can write the sentence. It might take him 15 minutes to get it done, but he will complete the task. Right. All right, so my chain of thoughts went down. Yes, so they will complete the task. So as in planning the lesson, it is important that the objectives are geared towards the skills of the learner. Yes, their cognitive development, the skill, and also the behavior that we want the student to, master. Because in our class, students who are remedial readers, they know that they have a challenge, and they tend to shy away from activities, and other students in the class will let them know that they are not up to the level. So sometimes, as I said, even when tweaking special activities for them, we should not make it so diverse in such a way where the other student or that particular child is able to say that, something is wrong with me, why Miss gives me only 2 pages to color while everyone else gets to write sentences. Yes. So also with remedial readers, when we plan engaging lessons, it is always what I always do. I tend to use activities that get their attention. Now, EduFamily, I'm going to be honest with you. I know a lot of persons won't admit it, but for me, online teaching has been a challenge to the point where I cried to my HOD, says, I can't take it no more. I just don't know what to do, because Mrs. Boswell-Lewis, you know me, I'm out there, get it, girl, excitement, dancing in class, moving to the music, beating up the drum, so my little 2020, I'm a little language. So,
yeah, it's very true.
So being in this remote platform, I was not able to express myself how I usually do it. And it was a bit of a challenge for me. And, however, I try to ensure that whatever I do, I got my students actively engaged, right? So when we start off introductory activities, you want to ensure that it is bright, it's colorful, it is a pictorial. Yes, because as I said, we're looking at remedial readers and writers. You want to ensure that it's pictorial, and you also want to ensure that it uses all their other skills except weak one, which is writing. I have prepared a little interactive game, an engagement activity that I use to teach, right? So this topic, I'm gonna share it. Man, because I teach language, literature, and a lot of other English subjects. We tend to ensure that the information is there. Let me just click share and show you what I have here. Are you able to see Mrs. Boswell-Lewis?
It's coming up on my end. It's loaded. Yes. Yes. Awesome.
Okay. So this, as I said, EduFamily, I had a bit of a challenge with online learning because I was so used to physical space and putting a lot of excitement in the classroom. However, just like everyone else, I ensured that, I went out and got the training that was needed to ensure that I catered to the needs of my students. So I did an animation course from STEM Academy, where I learned how to not just do basic Google Slides or basic Microsoft documents. So this is, so I'm going to show you something, an introductory activity that would just take about 3 to 5 minutes to get the students actively engaged and ready for learning. So this is an escape room, right? So you'd have to get the answer correct, and then getting the answer correct will then lead to the topic of the lesson being taught. Are you able to see Mrs. Boswell-Lewis and EduFamily?
Yes.
Okay, so
So
as I said, you want to ensure that it grabs their attention. It gives limited reading activities so they won't get flustered at the beginning of class. Now for the escape room, you are supposed to click on objects, and the objects will give you clues to the answer to the topic for today. So for example, the students are here and they want to click the outline on the floor. When they click the outline on the floor, this internet is moving a little slow today. When they click the outline on the floor, it will take them to clues. Once they're able to answer the clues, get them correctly, they will then proceed to the exit. They would then proceed to the exit where they will, you know, get the topic for today. And as teachers, are you seeing it now?
Yes, yes.
Yes, and as teachers, we love to encourage our students by giving them, oh, you know, you got a little pencil, a little rubber I give for today. So yes, this is it. So this one says, hurry and reach the exit before the time runs out, or you will be the next outline on the ground. So this clue here is telling you that, guess what? You need to hurry up. Time is going to run out on you. So, you know, you go back to the escape room. When you go back to the escape room, yeah, man, you're going to just click all objects on the page. Some of them are what we would call dummy objects. They don't give you much, but you just click around until you find the clues and you get it going. All right. So Mrs. Boswell-Lewis, I want you to look at this clue and tell me if you can guess the character or the topic for today.
Flying objects.
It says, hold on, I think I pressed the button. It says, catch me if you can. I'm sure if your daughters were here, they would probably know the movie that this object is from.
Okay.
All right, I'm just going to click another clue that is a bit easier for you so you can get the answer so we can move on. Okay, so you don't know, I'm going to tell you what that was. That was a Quidditch ball. It is known as the Golden Snitch, and it is in a very famous movie that we all enjoy. All right, so I'm going to give you the next clue. Let me go to. Tell me what you look at the escape room and tell me what you'd want me to click for your clue, Miss Boswell-Lewis.
Okay, so when it comes up.
Yes. So the internet is not functioning right now because we know that, you know, we have a lot of challenges. So Mrs. Boswell-Lewis, tell me the clue tell me the object and I'll click it for you. We can try a hat, we can try a key.
All right, click the key.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay, this is your clue. It says, if the key to the exit is what you seek, find my twin who looks just like me. So should I click this key here? It also allows the children to think, what is going on? I thought the key would unlock the door. So I'm going to click the key here. Now you have a variety of keys, so it stimulates them to think. They're going to deduce now. Could it be the one on the rubbish can? Could it be the key on the train? Can it be the key up in the sky? So, you know, it allows them to think and say which one you would want to click. So I'm giving you the choice.
I want to click the one on the billboard. Is that the sign?
The sign?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, this is telling you that you have to hurry up because time is running out. Let me help you out with the key here. This key now, I'm sure this one will give you a clue. I'm sure by now you can tell who this character is. So you see, you want to get them actively thinking and learning. Mrs. Boswell-Lewis, you don't know this character? And he's a wizard and he's famous?
I don't know him.
And he has two best friends, Hermione and Ron.
Oh my, I don't. You see, I'm not a movie.
So you see, Edu Family, that is why when we use activities to engage students, we want to link what they know to introduce the new topic to them. So you don't know this character?
No.
It's okay, it is Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is Harry Potter. So all the clues would have told you that it's Harry Potter. So when you click the door, the door to exit would have taken you to Google Forms, right? So once you have inserted the correct answer, you will
Yes.
then, the engagement activity will then unfold, and you will, the student will say, okay, Harry Potter, so we're talking about magic today. So when the students get so excited about magic, you want to just, okay, we're at the escape room where you would have put in your answer here. So let me put in, when you put in an incorrect answer, it would have given you a prompt to take you back to the escape room. So you would have to just go back through all the clues to get the correct answer. Yes.
Okay,
So,
this is very exciting. So I can just imagine that the student who suffers from dysgraphia, right? That
yes,
when you do something, when you have the specific learning disabilities, once their brain gets active and engaged, and it takes them away from focusing on their weakness, then it does something for them in terms of the classroom and the concepts that you want to bring across.
Yes, it does.
And, you know, this is something that
if them. Sorry, go ahead. My apologies.
No, and maybe it's the same point that we're about to conclude on, in the sense that if we take what they love and teach them using that, then you will see a different level of engagement that is coming across, and we don't need to become so frustrated that, as you mentioned, that we can't diagnose. But if we take a broad brush approach, not knowing that, okay, 10 students have a specific learning disability, or 10 can be diagnosed, but if we go into the classroom with the different activities, we may just be catering to different needs along the way and get them to grasp as much as possible. That's great. Were there any other high points for you that you want to share about to wrap up?
Yeah, no, for her presentation, yeah, man, as I said, it was good. Her model lesson plan demonstrated that the simple ruler can be used to do so many tasks. And at the end of the day, you want students to learn that simple objects. When students come to school, they tend to think that, okay, whatever I learn at school stops at school. You want students to know that simple objects, whether it is found in the learning environment, whether it is found at home, at church, these objects can, increase your knowledge. It can increase what you learn, how you learn, and when you learn. The most important thing that learners should understand, that they are the ones that are in charge of their knowledge. So as educators, we go the extra mile for them. We push them, we motivate them, but they are the ones who should be steadfast enough and say, hey, guess what? Let me learn all that I can learn.
Awesome. Mrs. Fyffe-Fagan, I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing your high points, and even taking us through this activity. Though you said it up that I could not score on it.
Oh, no, there, you know that there is a score. There is a score, because at the end, let me show you something, because at the end, I did plan a scoring activity for you. I'm going to send you the link so you can, your daughters can try it as well. There is a scoring activity. Give me a second. At the end of the,
this is just highlighting. Yeah, this is just highlighting, as you rightfully said earlier, that when we are thinking of the activities for students, we have to match their context in order to carry out the activity with them. And so I like the fact that you had this, this interactive approach, as Ms. Harris mentioned, that interaction is key for these individuals, because you want to take them away from their weakness and focus on their strength. And then you tie back their weakness into their strength to let them see how easy it is for them to be able to relate to the content. Wow. Okay.
It's because time is running out. As I said, I prepared like little games for the students. And also, whatever they do, you want to motivate them. So at the end of the class activities, your evaluation, your assessment they're remedial readers and writers. We don't always have to give them writing tasks. It can be a little oral quiz, a little drawing, and you want to ensure, I'm giving you your points, want to ensure that at the end of the day, they know that they accomplished their task. I'm giving you your flawless victory.
Right. So as we wrap up, is there anything that you'd like to say to teachers out there as the edge of family, so dealing with students who have specific learning disabilities? What if you have the opportunity now, what would you say to them?
Hold on. Okay. Edu family, I just want to say that we are charged with the hardest job out there, and that is educating the minds of the student population placed before us. Learners with special needs are not children that we need to shy away from. We need to scaffold them, we need to take them under our wings, and we need to let them know that despite your differences, despite your challenges, you have the same potential to get 100% like Timothy Brown. You have the same potential to get 5 CXCs and to get in a college of your choice. As educators, and I know, Edu family, I know we try our utmost best at all times as educators. Just be, I would say to educators, it doesn't matter your content area, your special field, make yourself aware of the different types of learners that we have in our class, some of the challenges that our students face, their learning disabilities, and Edu family, by being able to know the disabilities, identify the disabilities, it will improve the way in which we write our lessons. It will improve the way in which we match our objectives to the skill set of our learners. And what is most importantly, Edu family, it will improve the way in which we set our assessment activities to analyze and assess the learning that our students gather during the course of the learning session.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Mrs. YF Square, Yolann Fyffe-Fagan, for joining us on this analysis. And by the way, Edu family, she will be our analyzer for the rest of the month of June, joyful, jolly June, as we look at students with specific learning disabilities within the Jamaican context. Thank you so much, Edu family, for always supporting, always watching, liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting. We really do appreciate that. If you have not watched the video for Sunday, it's not too late to finish watching this one and then you go back to watch that one, because there are valuable information that were presented that will help you as you close out the school year and also as you plan for the new school year. Thank you so much, Mrs. Fyffe-Fagan, and we'll see you next week when we do this once more. Take care and all the best.
Thank you, Mrs. Boswell-Lewis and Edu family. Thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing you next week. Enjoy the rest of your day, colleagues.
Okay, great. Take care, mate.
Will do.